There are moments, usually at night, when the countryside feels thinner than it should. Not quieter. Quieter is easy to explain. Thinner suggests something else, as though the distance between what is seen and what is meant has narrowed, and the old signs are closer to the surface. The black dog, the woman in white, death bells, and corpse candles. In these stories, thinner does not mean quieter, or emptier, or less real. It describes the feeling that the boundary between what is seen and what is understood has worn down, like fabric rubbed smooth over time. A thin place is where the ordinary world feels lightly stretched, where sounds carry differently and familiar paths no longer feel entirely safe. Such moments were believed to make signs visible, not because something entered our world, but because the distance between worlds narrowed. When the land feels thinner, it is not changing. It is revealing what has always been there, waiting for attention. The black dog was not always seen clearly. Sometimes he is only a presence at the edge of vision, keeping pace with a walker on a moonlit road. Sometimes he is heard, the soft pad of feet behind, stopping when the listener stops, beginning again when they move on. Those who encountered him rarely described fear at first. More often they described a feeling of being accompanied, watched perhaps, measured. In East Anglia, he was called Black Shuck. In the north, Barghest. The names change, but the behaviour does not. He appears on roads near churchyards, at the edges of villages, places where one state becomes another. From the old accounts, the black dog does not attack. He walks. And when he walks beside someone, it is said that he is not following them. He is walking them towards something already decided. Some reached home safely after such encounters. Others did not. In those cases, the dog was later remembered not as a threat, but as a warning that had come too late to be useful. Where the black dog moves with certainty, the woman in white waits. She appears on roads after dark, near bridges, at bends where headlights stretch shadows longer than they should. Drivers see her standing at the verge, pale against the hedgerows, her dress catching the light like mist. Sometimes they stop. She does not speak much. When she does, her voice is soft, distant, as though coming from somewhere else. She may ask for a lift. She may simply sit in the back seat, hands folded, looking straight ahead. And then, somewhere between where she entered and where she was meant to leave, she disappears. The seat is empty. The door never opened. The air is suddenly cold. Those who experienced this often learned later that the woman had died on that road years before, struck by a carriage, a cart, a car. The story does not change much with time, only the vehicle does. The woman in white is not trying to frighten anyone. She is repeating something unfinished. Where the black dog moves forward, she remains behind. Between them, the land listens. Death bells cannot be seen, they are heard. A bell ringing where no hand pulls the rope. A church bell sounding at the wrong hour, or a single clear note striking the air before falling silent again. The sound comes from within the house, from the walls or the rafters, or the space just above a sleeping person's head. In others, it carries across fields at night, distant but unmistakable. The sound is never mistaken for celebration. In rural Britain, bells were used to mark death long before they marked time. To hear one without cause was to know that someone nearby would soon be carried to the churchyard. Sometimes the listener knew who it was meant for. Sometimes they did not until later. Corpse candles are quieter still. They appear as small lights, pale and steady, moving slowly through fields, along lanes, across marshland. They do not flicker like lanterns. They do not burn like fire. They drift, as though guided. In Wales, it was said that the candle marked the path a funeral would soon take. To see one was to know that death was already moving. Some followed them. Those who followed corpse candles often lost their way, finding themselves hours later far from where they had intended to be, unable to explain how they had travelled so far, or why the light had vanished just when they thought they were close enough to understand it. What binds these stories together is not fear, it is timing. The black dog appears before an event. The bells sound when the moment approaches. The woman in white lingers after it. The candles trace the path before anyone walks it. They are not hauntings in the modern sense. They are signals. In the countryside, where death was once familiar and expected, these signs were treated with seriousness, not panic. People did not chase them away. They listened. They prepared. It happened at home. It happened quickly. It happened without warning. There were no hospitals to remove it from sight, no sirens to announce its approach. When death came, it did not arrive as an emergency. It arrived as part of life. Doors were kept closed at night. Roads were avoided when possible. Children were warned not with threats, but with knowledge. Some things, they were told, are not there to be challenged. Today, the signs are easier to dismiss. A shadow at the roadside becomes fatigue. A sound in the night becomes settling wood. A distant light becomes reflection or imagination. Fewer people know what they are seeing. And perhaps that is the difference, because when the black dog walks beside you, when the woman in white waits ahead, when a bell rings without reason or a light moves where no one stands, the sign has already done its work. The signs were a way of preparing. The black dog did not promise death. He suggested nearness. The woman in white did not threaten. She reminded. Death bells and corpse candles did not cause what followed. They acknowledged it. They gave shape to uncertainty at a time when uncertainty was constant. When someone heard a bell ring without cause or saw a light move across a field at night, it allowed the unspoken fear to take form. It gave the community a language for anxiety, a way to say, something is changing without having to name it yet. In that sense, the signs were not superstition. They were structure. They helped people sit with the idea that life could shift suddenly, that loss might already be moving toward them, and that readiness mattered more than control. In the modern world, we like to believe we have replaced signs with certainty. Medicine, technology, data, all designed to tell us what is happening before we feel it. But anxiety has not disappeared. It has only become quieter and more constant. Today, the signs return in different forms. A presence at the roadside, a sound with no source, a light that moves where it should not. We explain them quickly because explanation feels safer than acknowledgement, yet the feeling they produce is the same. A pause, a tightening, the sense that something has brushed against the edge of understanding. Perhaps the old signs do not ask us to believe in them as literal warnings anymore. Perhaps they ask us to notice when we are standing in liminal moments, times of change, loss, uncertainty, and to recognize that unease is part of being human. The black dog still walks when the road feels long. The woman in white still waits where memory refuses to leave. The bells still ring when silence feels too full. The lights still move when paths are about to be taken. They mattered because they reminded people they were not alone in their fear. And perhaps they still do. If you enjoyed these stories, subscribe to Whispered Folklore.